thank you for all being here. I know it's a little over the time frame. My name is Jameson. Our group is Green from the Top Down, and our project was to bring green roofs to Western's campus through education, inspiration, and to further beautify the campus through living means. My colleague here will tell you more about what green roofs are.
My name is Tia. I'm a geography student here at Huxley. And initially, when we started this project, we wanted to cover the campus with green roofs. And we quickly realized that in order for a project to move forward, you have to start small and then hope that it will take hold and foster larger projects in the future. So, some of you are probably wondering, what exactly is a green roof? In the simplest terms, it is a roof of a structure that's covered with vegetation, a soil medium, a filter mat, and a drainage layer planted over a waterproofing membrane. And there are several different scales of projects, and here's just a few illustrations to show. There's as small as bus stops in the UK and garden sheds, and here's a local demonstration at the Lightcatcher Museum. So there's two types of green roofs. There's extensive and intensive. And as intensive implies, it is going to be more work to have one of those. They have deeper soil medium, and they support a large variety of plant species. And they require a lot of maintenance. It's having a garden on your roof. And they often have to be incorporated into the main design structure of the building because they're heavy. And they're typically used for recreational purposes. So extensive green roofs are shallow, and they house herbs and grasses and drought-tolerant sedums. And sedums are a great little plant that can adapt to a wide variety of climatic conditions. And they don't require much maintenance once they're established, and they can be installed on sloped roofs. And they typically aren't accessible to the public, but I've seen some that have pathways where you can walk through them. So we were pretty excited to find out that the Miller Hall renovation is going to have a green roof in the courtyard. And the product that they're using is called Zero Floor. It is grown in Oregon, and essentially it's installed like sod. So it's grown out in the field, and then they harvest it and roll it up and bring it up here and install it like sod. And digging a little deeper, we found a local green roof distributor called Itera, and last week I went to their greenhouse in Mount Vernon, and it is amazing. It is a sea of sedum, and David Gilmore, and he provided us with some samples here just to show how wonderful their product is. And they engineer it, or they pick out varieties of species to fit certain conditions. So the one on the far right is for color, so it's going to have color all year round. The one in the middle is for shade, and the one on the left is called Tough Stuff, and it's going to last the longest, or probably in the harshest conditions. So just a case study here at Michigan State University. Ford Motor Company approached them about doing some research on green roofs because they're going to install a 10-acre green roof on one of their assembly plants. And so this sparked interest in the university to start researching with these small green roof platforms. And it's just a good example of how starting small by looking at these little platforms sort of, it pushed green roofs onto the rest of campus, and now they actually have a 3,500 square foot green roof that they installed after doing all of this research. So it's great to see something start small and then eventually move to a giant project. So now Kevin is going to tell you all about the benefits of green roofs.
So I'm Kevin. I'm a disaster reduction student. And yeah, we broke down the benefits into three basic categories: environmental, economic, and educational. And I'll briefly touch on all three, but I do want to say that the focus of our project as students is going to be the educational benefits that we think this will bring. So in terms of environmental, air quality is a big one. There's air filtration qualities, and also it absorbs heat, which is really important in indoor structure. We're looking at outdoor structures where water management is a big thing. So water retention and also water filtration, two major benefits. And then we have our booklet up here if you guys want to look afterwards. It actually gives figures and numbers. And then something called an urban ecosystem, where we're providing habitat for bugs, birds, bees, in an urban environment that they otherwise might not have. And then there's actually economic benefits to this. So while the upfront cost might be more, there's actually a longer material lifespan, up to double what it is in a normal roof construction. And there's some case studies that I talk about and reference in there. So, and then there's also grant eligibility. So there's a lot of grants going around right now for universities and higher education that deal with sustainability, and these green roofs help to make you eligible for those. And then regulatory requirements. In terms of some certifications like LEED, Living Building Challenge, green roofs can be an essential component of that. And so, universities that are looking for those certifications can meet that in this way. And then where we really come into play, the educational benefits. We want this green roof and the green roofs that we propose to be a catalyst for bigger green roofs to come. You have to start small and work your way up. And we think that this can be done not only through a visible presence, but through educational signs that we put up. And here's an example of an educational sign that's up right now on a different campus. And basically what it would entail would be showing like the major design principles, the benefits that I just talked about, and educating the students, the faculty, the staff on exactly what a green roof does. And this will be right here, the one in Miller Hall, available for all to see. The sign will be out in front for the public. And then just another thing that we found is that there's an increased, I found a study talking about the increased morale and just the beautification of the green roofs. So some of the benefits. Yeah.
So to figure out our cost efficiency of our projects, we had to do a little bit of analysis of current bike racks around campus, because 2 of our 3 proposals are building a roof over current bike racks around campus. So to look at that, we looked at the current standard at the top, which is the blue bike racks that are covered that are used nowadays, and the original old standard, which you can see in front of Artson and other places around campus. The current standard is $2,000, $20,000, I'm sorry. It locks up 10 bikes, and so the cost per bike is about $2,000 to lock up an individual bike. The previous standard is $750 for 4. So that comes down to $188 per bike, although you do have to find somewhere to cover those afterwards if you want coverage. So then to put that into another view, I did the entire cost of all 3 projects up top with it itemized from there down. The entire project cost would be just under $200,000 for the bus stop and 2 bike rack coverages. The Miller Hall design and the communications design are roughly about the same estimated cost. They do have a different potential bike capacity based on the roof line. So the Miller Hall design, in between Fraser and Miller on the north end, has a potential capacity of about 80 bikes at the cost of about $1,150 per bike. The other one behind on the east side of communications facility, is about potential of about 64 bikes. So that can be about $1,440, which is still a quarter less than the current standard cost per bike.
Thanks, Jameson.
No problem.
My name is Matt. I'm a sustainable design and planning major, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about the design of the covers that are going to go over the old bike racks that we're going to reuse that are already here on campus. So here, this is the Miller Hall design. It's basic post and beam construction. We want to use recycled lumber from a local distributor. It would have 18-inch beams with 12-inch posts. With a 112 pitch for drainage, and the Miller Hall design would be 60 feet by 21 feet, which is roughly 1,200 square feet of coverage for bike racks. Communication design, same idea, a 112 pitch for drainage, post and beam construction. The only real difference here is the dimensions. It's 28 feet by 33, which is about 900 square feet of coverage. Here's a basic diagram to show the principles behind drainage for the green roof. So as water hits the trays, it's used by the plants. The excess water then flows down through the system into the drainage network, which filters down the roof to a gutter system, which we've kind of added a green gutter system that would continue the slowing of water, which would eventually feed into a rain garden for large rain events. Here's the locations for our proposed roofs. The blue dots indicate green roofs. You'll also notice a red dot for a living wall, which we'll comment on later. In showing you each site and design, I'm going to move from the north end of campus on the left, south. So we're going to go from the bus stop to Miller to Communications. So here's our first location. This is the bus stop on High Street across from the PAC and next to Haggard Hall. You can see it outlined in the white box. Here's an existing photo. So this is what we have now. And this is what it might look like with a green roof on it. So basic idea, taking the trays, utilizing what's already there, adding what's needed. Moving further south, we're at Miller Hall. So this location is to the left of the entrance where the current bike racks actually are. So essentially we'd be covering existing bike racks. Here's the existing photo. And here's what it might look like once implemented. So, and for clarification, the potential bike cost is adding additional racks that we think we could fit under these covers. Finally, the communications location, which is to the northeast corner of this building. Currently what's there and what it might look like. And moving on, I'll hand it off to Jameson to talk about more potential.
All right, so in researching, we also learned about living walls. We didn't use that as a proposal, but it's also an intended idea for what could benefit this campus. They're essentially, as Tia described, the same format as green roof. It's a little different in attaching it to a vertical surface, but other than that, it's a fairly similar design. They don't use intensive and extensive. They have what's termed for living wall, which is more of an attached directly to the substrate, as you can see in the top right, versus ones over here would be more of a modular unit attached to some kind of framework behind it. They have the same benefits and also are a great way to show how the campus could be beautified through adding plants to structures. And then our next one is a proposal for what could be benefited to our campus. This is the Environmental Studies building. It faces south, gets the most exposure year-round. And so that's just an example of how you can have a large living wall on the side of it and have a little bit of color so to represent our school.
The end.
All right, that's it. Thank you to all these people.